Hello student. Today my topic is oligohydramnios. The objective of this topic are definition, physiology of amniotic fluid, a normal volume of amniotic fluid in varying gestation, etiology, complication, diagnosis and management. Definition: oligohydramnios is a condition in which amniotic fluid is reduced. It is diagnosed when amniotic fluid is less than 5 cm and maximum vertical pocket is less than 2 cm on ultrasonography. Physiology of amniotic fluid I have told already in previous topic in polyhydramnios, but I want to repeat it again. In first half of pregnancy, the fetal skin allows diffusion and hence the amniotic fluid is almost fetal extracellular fluid. After 20 weeks, the fetal skin becomes keratinized and diffusion is impaired. In the second half of pregnancy, the fetal kidney becomes active and thereafter the fetal urine becomes the main source. Daily production of urine is about 1000 to 1200 ml per day. Other sources are secretion from the lung and tracheobronchial tree. Mechanism of removal of amniotic fluid. In the normal fetal swallows about 500 ml fluid per day. Removal of amniotic fluid also occur by the intramembranous absorption. There is a large osmotic gradient between the amniotic fluid and blood, which causes removal of the amniotic fluid into the fetal blood. This is how recycling occurs. Normal volume of amniotic fluid in varying gestational period. The volume varies with the gestational age. It increases from the 8 weeks until the 34 weeks and thereafter it reduces slowly after 20 weeks. It is about 700 to 800 ml at 40 weeks. Assessment of the amniotic fluid. USG is the best method to assess the amount of fluid. There are two methods to assess. First one is amniotic fluid index and second one is maximum vertical pocket. Amniotic fluid index is calculated. The maternal abdomen is divided into 4 quadrants. The largest vertical pocket in each quadrant is measured with USG and the sum of the 4 measurement in centimeter is called amniotic fluid index. Maximum vertical pocket, depth of the pocket is so called maximum vertical pocket. Its range is 2 to 8 centimeter. If it is less than 2 centimeter, it is called oligohydramnios. If it is more than 8 centimeter, it is called polyhydramnios. And amniotic fluid range is 5 to 25 centimeter. If it is less than 5 centimeter, it is called oligohydramnios. If it is more than 25 centimeter, it is called polyhydramnios. So we discuss about the etiology. What are the etiology of oligohydramnios? It could be a fetal, maternal, placental or many drugs. The fetal causes are fetal growth restriction. What happened here? There is shunting of blood to brain and heart, so there is reduced renal perfusion and cause oliguria and oligohydramnios. Post-term pregnancy. As we know, as the pregnancy advances, there is a less formation of Lacher amnii. Premature rupture of membrane. There is history of leaking membrane, so it is associated with oligohydramnios. Chromosomal anomalies like triploidy, trisomy and Turner syndrome all are associated with oligohydramnios. Congenital anomalies like renal agenesis, infantile polycystic disease, upper urinary tract abnormalities in pelvic-ureteric junction, lower urinary tract obstruction, and maternal cause. Preeclampsia, there is a chronic placental hypoxia. There is a chronic placental hypoxia, so there is oliguria and oligohydramnios. And APLA syndrome, what happened here? It is a systemic autoimmune disease. Here there is a thrombosis of artery and vein, so it is associated with oligohydramnios. Chronic hypertension, same mechanism is there. There is a chronic placental insufficiency. Placental cause, chronic abruption, there is a premature separation of placenta, so it leads to oligohydramnios. And twin transfusion syndrome, it is associated more with monochorionic twin. One sac is associated with oligohydramnios and other sac is associated with polyhydramnios. And drug, prostaglandin inhibitor like indomethacin and SE inhibitor, which crosses the placental barrier and it reduces the fetal renal perfusion and causes oliguria and ultimately result in oligohydramnios. So fetal anuria is a pathogenetic factor in almost all cases. Now we look for complication. It could be antepartum or intrapartum. Antepartum, there is a fetal growth restriction. I had told already about pathology of fetal growth restriction. And prematurity, intrauterine infection, PROM, and IUD. Because of chronic hypoxia, IUD occur, and premature rupture of membrane if labor established, then premature baby delivered. If not established immediately, if it takes long time, then intrauterine infection occur and called chorioamnitis. So these are the antepartum complications. Complication due to reduced amniotic fluid volume. Pulmonary hypoplasia, what happened here? Amniotic fluid is required for fetal development in early and mid pregnancy. There is a thoracic compression which prevent lung expansion, so pulmonary hypoplasia occur. Other causes of pulmonary hypoplasia is there is a lack of fetal breathing movement, so it prevents inflow of fluid into the lung, is also responsible for pulmonary hypoplasia. Limb deformities like talipus occur. There is amniotic adhesion or band causing deformities like amputation of digit. And Potter's face, there is a low set of ear, epicanthic fold, and reducing mandible and flattened nose. Intrapartum complication. Fetal morbidity and mortality is increased in oligohydramnios. Cord compression in labor causing variable deceleration, and fetus goes into fetal distress because there is no liquor. If baby delivered with meconium aspiration syndrome, then what is meconium aspiration syndrome? The baby passes meconium into the amniotic fluid during labor, Once the baby passes the meconium into amniotic fluid, they may breathe into the lung and the meconium block the infant's airway. After birth, it can cause the breathing problem. So it is a very critical condition. And low Apgar score, if baby delivered, baby can be a low Apgar score baby. What is Apgar score? It is a method or tool to evaluate a newborn baby's health. It consists of 5 things: color, muscle tone, heart rate, respiratory rate, and reflexes. Intrauterine fetal death occur because of placental hypoxia. Diagnosis, clinically we can diagnose as on abdominal examination, uterine size is smaller than the period of amenorrhea, and abdomen seems to be full of fetus due to lack of liquor. A malpresentation is common like breech due to not enough liquor for a spontaneous turn. In premature rupture of membrane, there is leaking of membrane or vaginal discharge. Ultrasonography, it is a diagnostic and it is very much informative. It helps in many ways. On ultrasonography, there is no fluid or little fluid is seen around the fetus, and the amniotic fluid index is less than 5 centimeter, or largest vertical pocket is less than 2 centimeter. A targeted USG is essential to look for renal anomalies and chromosomal abnormalities. A Doppler ultrasound for fetal arteries will also confirm the renal agenesis, and empty of the fetal bladder rule out the major urinary tract abnormalities. Management, there is no specific treatment for oligohydramnios, but it depends upon the etiology, but management depends upon the etiology, gestational age, severity, and fetal status and well-being. 3 major problems to be ruled out with oligohydramnios are first is renal anomalies, fetal growth restriction, and premature rupture of membrane. We can treat as, if it is drug induced, omit the drug. Severe anomalies like bilateral renal agenesis, parents should be counseled and advice is given for medical termination of pregnancy. If there is a premature rupture of membrane, or gestational age is more than 37 weeks, induction is indicated. If it is a preterm premature rupture of membrane, then patient is advised for adequate rest. Antibiotic is to be given to prevent chorioamnitis, and steroid is given for lung maturation. Generally betamethasone 12 milligram is given for 2 doses 24 hours apart. After 48 hours, induction is to be done. Intrauterine growth retardation, adequate rest is given, and it increases the dehydration. Our patient is advised to take oral fluid. If patient not able to take oral fluid, then IV hypotonic fluid 2 liter per day is given. Serial ultrasonography, patient is monitored about the amniotic fluid index by physical profile. If it is favorable condition, induction of labor is to be done. If induction of labor fails, then LSCS is done. Amnio infusion. It decreases the cord compression and dilute the meconium. Amnio infusion. Indication of amnio infusion: it is a diagnostic, prophylactic and therapeutic. It decreases the cord compression and dilute the meconium. Thank you.